Change Radio, the people's radio, changing lives, changing communities, changing ideas. Tune in to Change Radio for all your fresh and undiluted news in Isindebele, Shona, and English. 5 days a week from Monday to Friday.
Thank you. So, welcome to the Political Trends program. My name is Patricia Chinyoka and I am your host. And we just want to say thank you to our listeners as well as our viewers tonight. So a refresher about this program, we discuss political trends from a local, national and global perspective, including celebrating successes and talking about people that are standing in the gap on the ground in Zimbabwe, the people that suffer persecution, the people that speak out and challenge the regime. And also a big thank you to those from the diaspora who play their part. And we hope that by watching and listening to this program, you too will be inspired to participate in politics or in human rights activism, wherever you are, whatever part of the world you live in. And tonight, I am so delighted to be joined by talent Rusere. So welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
It's a real delight to have you here. And I just wanted to start off by asking whether you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Talent Rusere, a South African-based Zimbabwean business entrepreneur, human rights advocate, and political activist.
Wow, that is a lot there. It's a lot of things that you are doing, being a human rights, political activist, as well as running your own enterprises. That is really, really exciting. I think that is what we want to hear from Zimbabweans. So there at the beginning, I talked about people getting involved and Talent has just told us the ways in which he gets involved with the things that are happening in Zimbabwe. So can you start off telling us what you do as a human rights activist as well as a political activist? What does that really mean practically?
Thank you so much. As for me, when it comes to political activism, I participate in a different way, whereby the most important thing for me is to make sure that the people of Zimbabwe does not unconsciously participate in any political activity. So my main agenda or my main aim is to make sure that the people of Zimbabwe are authentic with what exactly is happening in Zimbabwe. If we are to talk about the Zimbabwean politics, where are we emanating from? Where is it coming from and where are we going? That is what I do. I expose corruption. I expose anything that affects the people of Zimbabwe, despite of who is doing it, whether it is the president. I don't care. A president, according to my own understanding, is a servant of the people. And if there is something that he is doing which the people needs to know, I make sure the people knows it.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. I like the part that you talk about authentic. So what does that mean to a Zimbabwean? If you say that authenticity, what are you saying? Are you saying to the people of Zimbabwe they must do something, they must say something around the political situation in the country?
Basically, what I'm saying is, it is high time that as the people of Zimbabwe, we understand that what we think is politics in Zimbabwe is not actually politics. And we need to know where exactly we are failing to make it. Let me just give an example of having the government claiming that Zimbabwe is in a situation it is today, probably because of sanctions. We cannot talk of sanctions in a country like Zimbabwe. Let me just give you a very simple example of Ian Smith. he was under sanctions as well. And he had a lot of people within his administration who were under sanctions. But up to now, we are still benefiting from the colonial developments. Yet the government that we have since 1980 up to now, it's close to 4 decades, if not 4 decades. They haven't even managed to construct even one railway line. And they are giving a blame on sanctions. That is not something we are supposed to be listening to. We are supposed to be listening at as the people of Zimbabwe. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. Gold is being smuggled out of the country. Our diamonds are being smuggled out of the country. If we are to take a very close look at what happened in Mugabe's late days, 15 billion went missing at Chiadzwa. And the government did not manage to do anything better than telling the people that 15 billion went missing from the government coffers. What does that mean? What are they doing to bring back the 15 billion? Look at our hospitals. We only need 60 million to have our hospitals function for the whole year without shorting anything. We also have, look, if you check at the United States Embassy, they gave a report where they are claiming to be putting in something like 200 million per year to help the people of Zimbabwe. Where is the money going? Because our hospitals are not functioning, our schools are not functioning, the roads are something else. So the people of Zimbabwe need to understand what exactly is happening in Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much for that talent. And I do you know what, I really get that. I think to a large extent, people believe the narrative of the regime that the country is not progressing due to sanctions. But that is a wrong narrative, because the reality of why Zimbabwe is not progressing is what you've described, the corruption, the billions. You know, if I think back to Command Agriculture, all that money is gone. We know that diamonds and minerals are leaving the country every day. We have seen how people have smuggled minerals and been let off. So, you know, nothing happens. People are arrested, you know, this catch and release. People are arrested after corruption has been uncovered, and those people just get away with it. And those are the millions that should be building Zimbabwe. So, you know, I think that one of the things you're saying is that people need to read, they need to learn, and not just listen without investigating the issues that are impacting our own country. And, you know, just thinking back to COVID, how is it there in South Africa? Because I know that there are implications, you know, with all this looting going on, there's an impact again on the COVID scenario in Zimbabwe. What's happening in South Africa around COVID?
Well, there is nothing much here in South Africa. I would love to applaud the South African government because they are doing a great job. Mm-hmm. If they are to impose a lockdown, they make sure that their people have got something to eat. They make sure that their people are secure when it comes to the basic living. Mm-hmm. It's unlike Zimbabwe, where you can be, where the president can impose a lockdown and without any strategy, without any plan to make sure that the people eat, the people live. And unlike Zimbabwe, you know, there's something that I want the people of Zimbabwe to know about South Africa. If there's one of those countries where there's high rate of informal businesses, it's South Africa. Mm-hmm. I had never seen the government of South Africa, especially in this COVID era, destroying illegal structures and chasing people away from their informal business places. I'd never seen that happening. And it's something that I would wish could happen in Zimbabwe. Look at what is happening in our Zimbabwe. The government imposes a lockdown. The people in Zimbabwe are living from foot to mouth. there are no jobs. The government has got nothing to offer to the people, yet they are destroying the people's businesses. They are destroying the informal sector, which I would love also to take this opportunity to tell the people of Zimbabwe that whatever that is happening in Zimbabwe, it's not because the government wants to do something good for the nation. It's a political strategy where the government of Zimbabwe knows that for anyone to be able to do any business in Zimbabwe, for you to be able to do a formal business in Zimbabwe, you have to be well connected with ZANU-PF. You have to be part of ZANU-PF. So if you are an opposition supporter, or if you are an opposition leader, you have no chance to get any access to the national resources, or you cannot do any formal business, because the Zimbabwean business sector have been politicized to an extent that we even have ZANU-PF leaders. We even have people like Chiangwa, who doesn't have a shame in bragging about owning the national resources, which are supposed to benefit everyone in the country. So this is what is happening in Zimbabwe. They impose lockdown. They destroy your informal businesses. They know that you will not have a choice than to move out of the country and look for jobs elsewhere. When you go out of the country, they make sure you are not allowed to vote from there. So if you leave the country, they know it's -1 opposition supporter. It's -1 opposition voter. So try to imagine having a government like that, which doesn't even care about the well-being of the people, which only cares about them being in power. It's something that the people of Zimbabwe needs to understand. If we are to talk about COVID-19, yes, there's COVID-19, but what is the government doing to make sure it serves the people? Because the reason of having a government is to be secure, is to be protected against such things.
Yes, and you know what, you're so right then when you talked about the politicization of everything, really. You know, when we think about during election times, they politicize the giving away of resources. So, you know, the maize, everything is politicized. We're talking about the vaccines now. I'm hearing every single day people saying to me, I went to queue at a clinic, I've come back because somebody else said to me that this is for X type of people, and then people with big cars come in and just walk into there. So that's politicized. On the one hand, their propaganda machine, their communications department or information publicity department is talking about the fact that people should go and get vaccinated. People are spending days going up and down to the clinics. They are not getting vaccinated. And there are some individuals that are getting it, but it depends where you are, in which part of the country or in which part of the suburb that you live in. And then just back to the point you made about there's no cushioning of anything during the lockdowns. I remember last year, there was a big story where government had announced that they were going to support the informal sectors, that the informal sector were going to get some money to cushion them. Whether or not that money was released, nobody knows, because that went quiet. After 6 months, it went quiet. So they closed down everything. They closed the markets. We know that the majority of Zimbabweans are informal workers, informal markets. That's how they make their money. But they closed them. Recently, you would have seen the destruction of all of those structures. Not just that, the destruction of people's houses. It's, you know, it is totally unacceptable. So what do you think the people of Zimbabwe need to do in order to fight back, fight the regime?
What we need as the people of Zimbabwe is a unit of purpose. We need to be united. The biggest challenge that we have as a nation is that we are not united. We are always competing against each other. And also we have got a challenge in the opposition sector when it comes to our opposition parties and our opposition leaders. You know, we have reached a level where politics have become an act of looking for trouble, finding them everywhere, but diagonizing them incorrectly and applying wrong remedies to the problems, or in the name of trying to put something in my pocket. Politics have become a thing of the stomach in Zimbabwe. The people who are supposed to be uniting the people and giving the people strategies and giving the people a direction in how to fight for their very own existence have become hypocrites. And most of those people are ZANU-PF projects. You know, we have a government that has become so political to an extent that they use our national resources to fund for fake opposition leaders and fake opposition parties, so as to disrupt and defocus the people from their looting and plundering of national resources. Instead of us uniting, what are we doing as opposition leaders? Every opposition parties that is being formed today want to be the main opposition party so as to get into the system and also loot with ZANU-PF. This is what is happening in Zimbabwe. So you find that we have got a lot of opposition parties which are fighting to make sure that the name Chamisa is closed. It's so unfortunate. You formed an opposition, your opposition party. What for? What was the motive behind? Was it to fight Nelson Chamisa, or it was to bring change for the best interest of the people of Zimbabwe? So the people of Zimbabwe should understand all these things. We are in a country where our leaders, where the country is being run by cartels. Mm-hmm. They create some situations so that you focus on them. While we are insulting each other on social media, they are busy looting our diamonds and gold.
That's right.
While we are talking about Mighty T and Madam Boss concerning the new cars issue, they are busy looting and plundering our national resources. While we are going in and out, day in, day out, looking for vaccination, they are busy looting our national resources. The likes of Passion Java and others are smuggling our minerals. How can we have 38 expensive minerals, yet we cannot afford to create employment for our people? Look at Botswana. They only have one mineral, but the Zimbabweans are running from Zimbabwe, jumping borders illegally to Botswana, looking for jobs. This is nonsense. Look at the people who are being called investors in Zimbabwe. An investor, this is something that the people of Zimbabwe need to understand. We have been fagged for a very long period of time, being told that we have investors, we are bringing investors from China, this and that. What kind of investors? Some days before, I wrote an article which I was trying to tell the people about the hypocrisy within the people being regarded as investors. How can you have an investor who comes into the community, he buys properties in that community, and none of the local members of that community are mutual beneficiaries of that development? What sort of investing is that? They come into our country, they take our natural resources, they take our minerals, they export them to their countries. That's where they are doing manufacturing. Therefore, that's where they are creating employment. They take us for cheap labor in looting our very own minerals so that they can create employment in their countries. When they create employment in their countries, let me give you an example of the Nike company. They take resources from Africa. Their manufacturing is in China. and their investment is in the USA. So what happens is, when we buy their products as Africans, we are creating employment for them. We are creating employment for them in China, where they are doing manufacturing. We are generating money for the United States, where they cited their investment. So what are we in the end of the day? How can we have investors who come and take our natural resources and they never produce anything within our country? They take the natural resources, they go with them to their countries. They sell us fake things. 90% of our Zimbabwean women doesn't know an original gold necklace. We wear fake things, but their husbands are the ones digging gold for those Chinese. What are we doing?
Yes, do you know what? It is so sad. I just wish people could understand, listen to the message, understand that actually we all need to speak out. We all need to do something to converge, and I really did like it when you talked about that unity, because President Nelson Chamisa spoke about Agenda 2021, which is the citizens' convergence for change. So this is where all organizations come together, all these other political parties come together, individuals come together. We need the youth. The youth need to own this space, because the youth are the future. They need to buy into it. They need to be active, and they need to see the ownership as an investment into their own future. Because if they come on board and fight alongside others for this freedom, they are the ones that will benefit long term. Because as you say, all the minerals are going, they are leaving the country. They are going to enrich other places. So they take those minerals, they go, they sell them, and they develop their countries. When you look at Zimbabwe, there's been no development since 1980. So since Ian Smith left, look at the buildings, look at the railway, look at the hospitals. Any hospital that's been built in the country has been built by donors. There was a new hospital in Bulawayo that was opened a few months ago. That was built by donors from the UK and maybe other countries. So there is nothing that the government has done to improve any infrastructure. The hospitals are just non-existent, really. They're struggling. When we look at the roads, I mean, it's just everywhere, isn't it? The education system, it's just every area of Zimbabwe is struggling today because the regime has not invested. It isn't that we don't have the money, because we do have the minerals. It is because we have an incompetent and incapable regime in government. That's where we are, why we are in the state we are in today as a country. Now, just to move us on, we're going to take a little short break and we'll be back. So we're going to put on a bit of music for our listeners and we will be back. So welcome again back to our listeners and our viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching and listening. It's Patricia Chinyoka, your host on the Political Trends program with talent Rusere, based in South Africa. He is a human rights and political activist, and he's also a successful entrepreneur. And so we are so delighted that he has joined us today to talk about some of the things that he's doing and to offer his views about the state of the country politically. Now, I'm just going to move us along, and I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the human rights situation in Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much. It's really unfortunate that if we are to talk about human rights, we cannot talk about human rights in a country where there is no rule of law. We cannot talk about human rights in a country where the judiciary is captured. So basically what I'm saying is there are no human rights in Zimbabwe. There are no human rights in Zimbabwe. That is the reason why you find that petty criminals are rotting in Chikurubi. Yet big thugs, fraudsters, and criminals are being appointed to higher offices in the government. So we cannot expect such kind of a government to observe any sort of human rights. We cannot talk about human rights in a country where the national army is so dynamic in the political activities, where the national army is so dynamic in civil activities. We heard Mr. Chinamasa recently saying that openly in a public speech, that the Zimbabwe National Army, the relationship between the Zimbabwe National Army and the ruling party can never be broken. You know, it's so embarrassing that we still have people who clap hands for such kind of people. How could we have our rights? How could we have our rights observed when we have a national army that is partisan? Look at what happened in 2018. When people tried to go on the streets and present their opinions towards the presidential elections, what happened? The government sent the army. The very same army they are telling us today that there is a strong bond between them and the army. They are the ones who were sent to shut up people. And through the process, we lost some of our citizens who were shot by state ammunition. So what are we supposed to say to the world? Were those people shot because the army have been trying to maintain peace in the country? How can an army that is partisan maintain peace in the country? So when it comes to human rights, there are no human rights in Zimbabwe. There is no rule of law in Zimbabwe. And the judiciary is captured. That is the reason why you find people like Wopo Chingono being jailed just because he presented his thought and exposed the corruption with evidence.
Yes, that is bad, isn't it? What we have also seen in terms of the human rights abuses is that the opposition party leaders, so, you know, we have the MDC Alliance trio, Joanna Mamombe, Cecilia Chimbiri, and Nesai Marova, and some of the leaders within the opposition, they have been persecuted since last year, May, in and out of remand, in and out. We also know that there is Makomborero Haruzivishe, was imprisoned for 14 months on frivolous charges. And, you know, as you say, Hopo Chingono, and, you know, ongoing issues with the captured regime, and also the police. The police are captured. You know, we can't say that there is a police service in the country because they are an extension of the ruling party, as every institution in Zimbabwe has been captured. And, you know, that is unacceptable. So there is nowhere for people to go. And I know at the beginning, you talked about, this authentic way of thinking. It's about how can people really open their eyes to see the reality of what is going on in the country, and to be able to rise up, to be able to raise their voices and to call out these bad practices. So anybody that talks about corruption gets arrested, gets thrown in jail. And on the other hand, the regime continues to loot. So today, you know, there was a big story. Professor Love Momaduku was being interviewed on Zim-I. He's been given a car, and he was being asked how he can accept a car when there is no ambulance in Chitungwiza. And he justified that by saying, you know, it's for our political party. We will use it to progress our political party activities. And that is unacceptable, because he, including all those other opposition parties within Pollard, have become looters, have become the in-group of the ruling party. So they are looting together. And these individuals who are supposed to be speaking out against the human rights abuses are no longer speaking out. They don't speak out anymore. So, you know, you talked about the opposition that are fake, working alongside the regime that have come to work against the MDC Alliance Party. And it's such a shame because the MDC Alliance is now left on its own. That's why it's important to converge. That's why it's important to unite, because we need more voices to speak out against these human rights abuses. I don't know if you'd heard about Love Momaduku and the car that he was given by ZANU-PF. I don't know if you heard that one.
It's so sad that an intellectual like Love Momaduku would accept such a thing or would accept to be part of such a thing, because we thought he is an intellectual and he is supposed to enlighten the nation on what exactly is happening within the Zimbabwean politics, where the government is so obsessed in buying cars and houses for people who already own cars and houses, yet the majority of the people are dying in poverty, are suffering. It's I don't even know how to describe him, but it's so pathetic and it's so disappointing. It's really disappointing. It's one thing that the people of Zimbabwe need to learn from. They should be able to understand what exactly is happening in Zimbabwe. An ordinary citizen is dying because there is no ambulance at the hospital. They don't even have paracetamol in the hospitals. There is nothing left in there. Yet the government has money to buy an expensive car for an individual only because he is a participant of a certain political organization. So what is coming first? Is it our political organizations coming first or the people of Zimbabwe?
So hi to our listeners and viewers. We're just going to take another break and just get you to listen to some music, and we will be back in a short while. So see you soon.
Well, it's a West Bend, well, it's the point. Assalamu alaikum, sunshine, you must spend a Korea. Big joke, hey, hey, Chisi Wiso. Eh, Neripano de Kuti, Munuese, Arukuruziro Kubenda Kubota. Munuese, Ande Ikoko, Kubota. Munuese. Tinokutenda inerero wenye na kuvota. Shama Shamaria, Ande. Shama Shamaria, Ande. Shama Shamaria, Ande. chingwa na masai eka andi koko tondo fota shangmari vakomana vasikana andi koko munhu wese eka andi koko kundo vota vote.
Hi.
Hi, once again.
Yeah, hello. So to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching and for listening. We are going to continue. We've just taken a short break for music. I'm Patricia Chinyoka, your host on the Political Trends program, joined by talent Rusere. And, you know, when we just took the break, you were talking about issues to do with cars and all of that. Did you want to finish those comments and then we can go to wrap up our interview?
Okay, thank you. What I've been saying is it's high time as the people of Zimbabwe, we need to stand for our very own existence and the future of our nation. There are loans being taken by the government in the name of COVID. And we have also witnessed some of those loans being misprioritized, being misused, and being looted, buying expensive cars for individuals and building mansions and big houses for the people who already have those things. Yet we have our people suffering under the dead Zimbabwean economy. It's high time that as the people of Zimbabwe, we need to understand that the government will never come and tell you that we are looting so as to pursue our interests and to perpetuate our ruling. They will be working the way they are doing it. So we need to use common sense as the people of Zimbabwe. Just common sense. You don't need to go to school. But if you put it on the table, how can someone buy an expensive car for somebody who has got a fleet of 10 already? Mm-hmm. What for? The person next to that man is not even being able to afford 10 rand just to buy matemba, so he has to feed his family of 7, where there are no medications in the hospitals. It really defies common sense. That should make the people of Zimbabwe understand that we have a failed government, a government of cartels, a government of solipsistic people who doesn't even think about the next person. So how could we have those kind of people in our public offices if they don't think about the people next to them? If they can think about themselves, look at what is happening in Zimbabwe. It's so sad that all the politicians in Zimbabwe have become big businessmen. Their children have become multinational company owners. Where are they getting the money? If we have a dead economy that we cannot buy paracetamol for our general hospitals, if we can get to an extent where a general hospital failed to have an ambulance, at least one, where is the money go? Where are those people getting money from? It's very unacceptable. Look at that Zhishavane town clerk. He's earning something like $9,200 US in a dead economy like ours. And you tell us you cannot buy an ambulance. At least buy a small car, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. You know, we are a victim of massive looting and plundering of national resources. It's one thing that the people of Zimbabwe need to understand. They are the ones clapping hands for them. We are the ones clapping hands for them, supporting them, only because they have given us a 2 kg of rice and 2 liters of oil, which they can only give you when they are towards elections, as it is. There are places, especially in the rural areas, where even the roads does not exist. Right now, in this 5th generation. But when it comes to these times where they need your votes, they make sure they come there. That's why you will see men with big stomachs and jackets trying to approach you, asking you a lot of stupid questions. Just after elections, they forget. Our youth are being blackmailed. Like, we will give you land, we'll give you this and that. After the elections, the very same people who were given that land will be calling land barons, and they will be destroying their structures. This is what is happening in Zimbabwe. So it's high time that as the people of Zimbabwe, we open our eyes and really understand that, we are the ones being destroyed. It's our children's future that is being destroyed. Their children own multinational companies. People should have learned from Mugabe. When he was removed from being the president, his family did not suffer. They are still prominent business people. This is what is happening at the present with the present government, and people should learn. Why don't we learn, Zimbabweans? What is our problem?
I guess those are big questions for the Zimbabwean people, and I hope people are listening to those big questions. And I think that the key really that I'm taking away is that people need to investigate, find out what is going on in the country, get involved, do something, and not sit back, because it's unacceptable to just sit back. Now, I think what we are going to do is we're going to wrap up our interview, and we'll invite you back again. There's quite a few Zimbabweans in South Africa who are doing really well, who are standing up and fighting for political rights. We know that we have a leadership crisis, we have a leadership legitimacy with the current regime, and we need more and more people like yourselves to come forward and to speak out and to energize and to call on the youth to participate in politics. Now, before we finish, do you have any last words for our listeners and our viewers?
Thank you so much. What I would love to tell the people of Zimbabwe in concluding is that it's high time we learn to love ourselves. It's high time we stop being victims of our very own ignorance. It's high time that we avoid participating in political activities when we really do not have the clue of where the war movement is emanating from and where it's going. It's high time that we need to understand that in the end of the day, it's you and me who will be suffering. It's you and me who will be in a community where the general hospital does not have an ambulance. We are the ones who are going to suffer. Them and their children, even Maduku, who was given that car, if he falls sick today, or any of his children, they don't go to Chitungwiza Hospital. Mm-hmm. They fly abroad. And the money they are using to do that, it's something that is supposed to build a hospital for you and me. We have people who are bragging with our wealth out there, the likes of Passion Java, bragging with bars of gold, telling you that you had never seen this the rest of your life. You had never touched this. The question that you are supposed to be asking yourself is, okay, does Passion Java have a mining license? If he has that mining license, where is he getting that gold, which is 99% smelted gold, which is only supposed to be coming out from Fidelity? And Fidelity is saying nothing about that. Where did he got that gold from? Who smelted the gold? Mm-hmm. Why do we have an organization like Fidelity, which is supposed to be taking responsibility of our minerals, yet they are saying nothing towards the wash? Ask yourself, how can we have a government? How can we have a government that a criminal can pass with 21 pieces of gold on an airport like the Robert Mugabe International Airport, only to be caught in another country, yet you have already left your country? Where where is all this coming from? Those are the things we need to understand as Zimbabweans. We are the victims of this misprioritization of our national resources. We are the victims of corruption in Zimbabwe. The ones who are looting are always benefiting, and through our support, they will always benefit till death. Mm. Why are we allowing ourselves to be victims of our ignorance? Then the other thing that I would love to tell the people of Zimbabwe is watch out on the so-called prophets and men of God. Religion has become a political center point where these politicians, these corrupt people, are paying your church leaders to buy your conscience. Please be careful. It's a high time that we open up our eyes and stand our ground. How can a government how can somebody who is about 70, 75 years old take a loan that is supposed to be paid within a period of 30 to 40 years to come? How is that possible? His life expectancy already does not even get up to 20. Mm. So who is he taking those loans for? Who is going to be responsible? Who is going to pay those loans? Under whose expenditure are those loans going to be paid? Wake up, Zimbabweans, and stop being victims of your very own ignorance. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that talent, Rusere. That was really, really amazing. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you once again for joining us. So there was that massive call to action there from talent. Get involved, find out. Inaction doesn't help. Inaction is the problem. We need to converge. We need to come together as a people. We need to come together as organizations because together we can realize the change that we want for Zimbabwe. One individual can't do it alone, but if we are as many millions, we're targeting 6 million people to go and vote in 2023 because we want to win Zimbabwe for you and for myself. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we shall see you again next Tuesday. Bye-bye.